Hi, I'm John Lincoln with Ignite Visibility, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to create a good pop-up. I actually used to be really against pop-ups, but then after I saw the power of them and after I increased conversions on our own website over 30% as a result of using them and really use pop-ups to monetize our blog, to drive a lot more leads, and then we rolled that service out to a whole bunch of clients over a year ago, I got really into it. I know a ton about pop-ups. I actually really like them, but only if you use them in the correct way, and that is what I'm going to talk to you about today. Okay, so what is a pop-up? A pop-up is something that shows up on your website. It usually takes up a small amount of the page, and it asks the user to do something, to sign up for a newsletter, to fill out a lead form, to check out this cool new video that was made, to sign up for a webinar, anything you want. And there's a lot of different ways that you can introduce the pop-up on the web page. You can set it so that it fires after a certain amount of time. So you have time duration. It can be 1 second, 2 seconds, 10 seconds. I usually like to fire the pop-ups based off of the time of sight on how much people spend time on your website, and you can get that data from Google Analytics. So that's one option. You can also do it when they scroll down the page. You can have it fire based off of the percentage of the page that they've scrolled down. You can have it come in from a variety of different areas, lower on the page, side of the page, top of the page. There's full page takeover pop-ups. There's pop-ups that show up at the top, a bar pop-up, you name it. There are options for how you want to deliver the pop-up. And that's important because each one of them has different implications as far as how it affects the user. If it's a big pop-up that comes in and kind of takes over the whole page, people usually get pretty upset. If you have a smaller pop-up that comes in after a couple seconds and it's not super evasive, you'll generally see that people read that. And then if you have the scroll down pop-up that comes up from the bottom after somebody scrolled down the page a certain percent, that generally doesn't really annoy people too much at all. So that's the least evasive one, and you'll see a lot of success with all of them, but you got to know the subtleties. So let's start talking about that now. So what you want to think about with pop-ups is, before we get into the creative, where are you going to be firing the pop-up, and then what's the goal of the pop-up? Every website has different segments. I've talked about this in a lot of other videos, but you've got different segments of your website. You have different pages of your website. Certain pages are more popular than others. Each page, each segment of your website has a specific intent. You created that page for a reason. And what a lot of people do is they make the mistake of creating a general pop-up that they just fire on all of their pages. When that's the case, you're usually only going to see a click-through rate or an email entry rate on those pop-ups between 0.5% and maybe 2% or something like that. That's really not an ideal interaction level. So if you really want to be sophisticated with pop-ups, it's not really a best practice just to go general. I mean, sure, every once in a while you can, and if you have something big you want to promote, you want to get in front of all your traffic, that's fine. I've done that before. But really the best way to do it is to look at your top landing pages and look at that report and then create pop-ups by individual landing page that are specific to the goal that you want to accomplish on that page. Let's take that a step further. Do you want to have a goal that's a hard goal, meaning a hard goal or a macro goal, like asking them for a lead? Or do you want to maybe fire a pop-up and then push them into something that's a little bit more subtle, like a quiz that you've created, or just ask for their email address? These are things you want to think about because the percentage of interaction that you have there is going to be a direct result of the ask and how much the ask kind of impacts the user and takes them out of their current environment. So best case, you're creating pop-ups based off of the individual landing pages for every single one. You can't always do that though. So what happens is when it's too tedious, it's better to just do your top 20 landing pages or so, split test those, refine those over time, and then create segments for the top sections of your website. And with those segments, you can fire pop-ups on those individual areas. Another thing that's interesting about pop-ups is you can detect how the user came in and fire pop-ups as a result of that. So you can fire pop-ups just to people who, how many times have I said pop-ups in this video, by the way? Anyways, that you can fire pop-ups to people that that come in from Google, from people that come in from Facebook, from people that come in from Bing. So you can do it by traffic source, medium, you can do it by device, you can do it by location. So if you really want to get sophisticated, you could look at your top landing page and just fire it to people from the US who came in from a referral site that you're advertising on, right? So think how cool and integrated that gets, and think how much time you could spend on it. But that level of sophistication is what makes your interaction rate on the pop-up go from 0.5% to 10-20% and really increase those leads. So it's exciting stuff, and think about those implications for your own business. Okay, so the final piece of the pie for the pop-up is the creative, and that's really the most important point. Is it just a basic question that pops up and then asks them to get into another series of questions? Is it a full ask that comes out and says, sign up for our site right away? I've run one recently. It's a picture of me. It kind of tells how we can help the person. That's performed very well. But the creative is something you always have to be testing. The images, the copy. Most pop-up systems are going to allow you to split test the creative that you have and then determine the traffic percentage that you want to be pushing to each piece of creative. So always run tests. Never just run one. I've always got a test going, and we pick the winner and then we refine that. And that's allowed us to maximize conversion significantly for clients and for ourselves. Okay, I feel like I could go on about pop-ups, but I've talked so much about it and I've said pop-ups like 500 times at this point. So I'm going to end there. Thanks so much for tuning in. I can't wait to see you for the next Ignite Visibility University, and have a great day.